Our conversation with Daren Johnston, the superintendent at the Penns Manor Schools, brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Daren, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Wonderful. It's good to have you with us here today. I guess the question should be, how are you and how's everybody else doing with getting ready for this school year at Penns Manor? Is everybody surviving?
Everybody is surviving. Has been stressful, but I have to be thankful to all of our support staff, our faculty, administration, board for putting together a plan that I believe we can move forward for our opening.
Hey, I want to start with the conversation I had earlier this morning with Mike McDermott at ICTC because he brought up some interesting issues, including each of the school districts within Indiana County having their own plan and how that impacts students, for instance, that Penns Manor will send to ICTC. That's a little bit of extra work involved in that, isn't it?
It is. We're trying to make sure that we provide the opportunity, and all the school districts are coming up with a plan to try to get our ICTC students to the ICTC because we all know that those programs rely on a lot of hands-on experience in teaching. So here at Penns Manor, we will be providing, while we're in our green phase of our health and safety plan, we'll be providing transportation for our students to the ICTC all 5 days of the week.
Yeah, it's really interesting, some of the items that he brought up, and it really brings up what is an issue for all of our school districts. And number one, I know in your mind and everybody else, is ensuring the safety of everybody involved, students, faculty, and staff members.
Absolutely. It is the top priority. That is why we've come up with a plan in our health and safety plan that allows us to have transition in between a green, yellow, and red phase that we've placed out on our website that we've made all of our students and parents aware of. And that is that we just honestly want to be safe with all of our students. At the same time, our playing field, so to speak, may change. So we, as employees, have to be flexible. Parents and students have to be flexible. Our ultimate goal is to make sure that we have instruction for every student, and we know that we have to create that flexibility. I know it's frustrating to parents and students, but in our situation, if we end up having someone within our school community here on our campus that tests positive or a couple positives, we have to be flexible enough and allow me the authority to transition us. And I feel that we do have plans in place to make that happen.
Well, you talk about things being carved in stone. This can't even be carved in Play-Doh. Everything is absolutely fluid, and I'm sure changes come up on a daily basis that, might be considered little or minor, but really sometimes they have a chain reaction effect, and you have to be really, really adaptable.
We do. And again, just if a scenario case is that someone, heaven forbid, would test positive coming into our buildings, by all means, I will have to take a look at that as the pandemic coordinator of the district, communicating with the Department of Health. By all means, anyone test positive would be placed in quarantine, along with anybody that appears in the contact tracing list for that individual. So we have to provide the opportunity that when we say to a student or an employee that you need to be quarantined according to the direction from the Department of Health, we have to be able to have something flexible enough for that student to transition to so that they can keep up with instruction. So therefore, our brick-and-mortar students, we have come up with options that they can move to. So if I'm a student attending our brick-and-mortar schools, heaven forbid, I would end up in some situation that I'm testing positive for COVID-19, or I would happen to appear on someone's contact tracing list because I was within 6 feet of them for more than 15 minutes. Now I'm also on that list of being quarantined. And by all means, wanting to make it as flexible and as easy for students to maintain instruction while that would happen. And that then provides the opportunity for the second option that we have come up with as administration, faculty, and staff, and that is that our students can remain at home using the Chromebook that they've been assigned to for this school year, working in Google Classroom, keeping up with all their coursework, and communicating with the teacher, regardless if they're here in our brick and mortar or at home.
Folks who aren't directly involved in schools right now, maybe they don't have a kid or a grandkid who is a school student, they might sort of hear some of these school debates that are going on and watch the meetings and hear things and think that because you're having in-person instruction, that means that kid has to be there in that classroom on that day. It's much more flexible than that, though, isn't it?
It is. It is much more flexible. We've actually even revised our attendance policy this school year for the students that are attending our brick and mortar school, just simply because we know that we have to give that flexibility. We know now that all the list of absence reasons that we've had in the past, now it may be the reason that they need to be quarantined. So that has been added. We've certainly opened up and let our parents know that we're going to be flexible in attendance this school year. We still will remain taking attendance of those students that are working remotely because that is a requirement of PDE that I, as the superintendent, am signing off that we have approved plans in place that students are meeting the instructional days, the instructional hours that PDE requires. So we've had to put all that in place. So it is very much different than any parent or any individual out there that does not have a student associated with a school district, that we have become very flexible. And just real quickly, we've come up with 3 options for parents and students to pick from, and that is to attend our brick and mortar school as option 1, getting in-person instruction. Our option 2 is that they remain home using a Chromebook device from home. When we say that they're working in Google Classroom, that means that's the platform that we're using. When a student logs in, they can see every single one of their classes. Teachers will be then recording lessons from the brick and mortar lessons being taught in our school. Those recorded lessons are going to be uploaded to students that can get those at home. And then our third option is our cyber school that we've had in the past here at our district. And students enrolled in our cyber school are receiving 100% of their instruction through Edgenuity. Some of our Penns Manor teachers teach those courses. Some of the teachers from the Edgenuity company also teaches those courses. So we've provided the flexibility of parents and students picking from any one of those 3 options. And again, that first and particularly the second option provides us the flexibility that a student can transition back and forth from brick and mortar. Now, we don't want a case, of course, that someone chooses to do every other day on their own. They certainly are going to have to communicate to us to say, hey, we're deciding now at this point that we feel comfortable, or now we would like to transition from option 2 into option 1 so that we can come back into the brick and mortar school. And we will certainly do that on a weekly basis, and parents or students that's in that situation should contact their school office and make that change.
Talking with Daren Johnston, superintendent at Penns Manor. We talked to Sean Ford from Purchase Line yesterday, and you're in the same neighborhood, so let me ask you how comfortable you are with measures to ensure broadband and ensure connectivity for students within Penns Manor.
Sure, it is still difficult for students in our rural settings that do not have internet access. So that is a decision factor that some of our parents have helped them decide to continue to send their students in to brick and mortar schools. So that has been a concern, and so I have heard from parents to say, one of my main reasons to continue to send my child into the school physical buildings is because we lack internet. And we understand that. We continue to work with the county commissioners to come up with a plan to get internet out to our rural areas. In turn, I know that this is just sort of a small help to our parents and students, but we have placed on the exterior of all of our school buildings, now on our school property, internet antennas, so that anyone can come to our parking lots and access the internet. And I know that that's cumbersome and sometimes will be more work or problem for a parent or student, but that is our first step to try to help with that internet access. And again, We have been communicating with parents for several months now, indicating that please be ready with internet at home. If you have the availability to get it, please get it, because we have communicated to our parents and students that we would be providing a device for every single one of our students for this school year. And I'm happily sitting here saying that we have all of our Chromebooks here and ready to distribute.
Just a moment or so left with Daren Johnston from Penns Manor Athletics. I'm sure you're following the discussion going on in Harrisburg and around the state with the PIAA. And, of course, you have had athletes working out in the summertime as well. Spend a moment or so on that and tell us about athletics at Penns Manor this fall.
Sure. So we have been certainly watching and listening as information comes to us from PIAA. And I'm sure folks listening has heard all of that debate and the direction that we're going. I will say that we have continued under our athletic health and safety plan to have students here on our property doing practices. I will have to compliment our coaches and staff that they're following the guidelines that we and requirements that we have in our district athletic safe and health plan, meaning that the temperatures are checked upon arrival, that they are wearing face coverings when they're not in physical action, even including not only our sports, but for the past 2 weeks, Mr. Rode has been doing an outstanding job with our marching band and having all those students in. And I just have to thank everyone for putting forth that extra effort to have everyone still continue to participate. And I appreciate students' cooperation. And I know it's cumbersome. I mean, I know it's not easy to start off your day or a practice that you're taking temperatures and asking questions and things of that sort. But we just have to do that. That's a requirement to make sure that we're safe and healthy. And we stressed every single one of them, every single student. Listen, if you're not feeling well, please just do not come. And that's our motto throughout the beginning of this year. Also with the athletics that we have been conducting here on the property, along with our marching band practice, is we're communicating. If you don't feel well, just please stay home. Help us.
Absolutely.
Help us maintain the availability to continue to do what we're doing. In regards to sports, we will continue as long as everyone can abide by our athletic health and safety plan, and that the District 6 allows us to move forward. We will continue.
Daren Johnston, Penns Manor Superintendent, thanks so much for being with us today.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you. I always appreciate your support.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. You too. Thank you.